Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to talk about one of my newer razors, the Razorock Game Changer, with the UFO handle, and I got it with the 68 gap plate, and I also got the 84, I believe it is, yeah, 84 plate as well. So, pretty good razor. Granted, like I said, I don't have a very, even though I've been wet shaving for 13 years, I've predominantly just used two razors for the duration of it. It wasn't until recently I kind of just, on the whim, just looked into it and realized just how much more options there are than there were back in the 2010 when I began. So my predominant used razor for the last 7 years was the Edwin Jagger DE89. So it was exciting to actually try kind of a more of a higher end razor, and this thing just does not disappoint. So the reason I chose this one originally I was looking at the Rockwell 6S. I wanted I just wanted to test out kind of different aggressive levels just to kind of see what my favorite would be. So I kind of wanted an adjustable without paying for like a true adjustable ones. And plus I have an issue with some of those adjustable ones, is that the way they adjust, moving the cap up and down, then it kind of changes the blade angle, which kind of, I don't know, I didn't like that when I tried one years ago, so I wanted something that kind of keeps the blade fixed. So anyway, that's how I ended up on trying to find like one that I can just change out plates. And like I said, I wanted the Rockwell, only because that's what kept coming up like in YouTube or everywhere else. And then someone on Reddit suggested I look at this one, and I'm so happy they did, because when I saw this one, I immediately liked it better. One, it was about half the cost of the Rockwell, but the biggest thing for me is look at how tiny that head is. It's super sleek and slim, which is one of my favorite features, because then you can kind of get under your nose, kind of around curves. It just makes it super easy, for me at least, to shave, is to have a very kind of compact head. And this one actually, and I've always thought the Edwin Jagger was pretty small, but if you look at it, actually I think the Jagger, is the Jagger upside down? No, okay, it's good. So if you even compare it to the Jagger, you can kind of see it's even smaller than that. So it's about the same size as my Merkur here. I mean, which up until now, this has been kind of like the sleekest, smallest head. I always have used this one anytime I grow my facial hair out, and then I either have long hair I have to cut off, or if I'm trying to kind of keep like a goatee or something, trying to kind of keep the lines clean, because this one's just so easier to kind of navigate. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up on a Game Changer. I think it's a phenomenal razor, especially for the money. It's $54 for the actual razor, and it's all stainless steel construction, which is, I mean, for all stainless steel razor, $54 I think is probably one of the cheapest options out there. So I think it's a great deal. And of course you get the option of a plate. The plates are $30 more, so all in all it's like $85 to get this one, which if you compare to the Rockwell 6S, you're in for like, what, I think $150 or something for the stainless steel. So I thought it was a much better deal, but more or less the head was just smaller, which is why I liked it. I think the reason the heads are bigger on the Rockwell, I think, is because the plates are kind of two-sided, so it's kind of like you have two plates because you flip them around. So maybe that's why, but I don't know. But very happy with this razor blade, very happy with it. So for size comparisons, like I said, I got the UFO handle. So the UFO handle, which is one of their shorter handles, is 85 millimeters, which I think is their second shortest. I actually wanted the HD, which is 82 millimeters, but they didn't have that one. But yeah, this is probably their second shortest handle. This thing weighs in, let's put it up against the Jagger so you can kind of see the length right there. And if we put it next to the Merkur Classic here, you can kind of see it's right in the middle. So the length is good. I kind of like, like I said, I can adjust, but I generally prefer a little bit of a shorter handle, just easier for me to hold it like this. Having my hand and just kind of hold it like this is easier for me. Like this one is very easy. This one I guess is probably the longest one, but yeah, the length doesn't bother me too much. I think it's a good length. If we kind of get some weight thrown out here, and actually here I have another one for comparison here of the feather twist to open, and you can kind of see that one's by far the longest handle. But this one is, you know, mostly plastic, so, you know, we don't really need to like support it, because like this one, because of how heavy it is, and if you get your hands wet, I could see it kind of, you know, dropping a little bit. So it's kind of nice to have a finger under there to kind of keep it from slipping. This one is so light that not an issue. But if we kind of look at some weights here, all right, so we've got this one comes in at 92 grams compared to the Jagger, which is 73 grams, so 20 gram difference. That's a pretty more than I expected. And then the Merkur comes in at 63, so the lightest of the group, and then the Feather is super light, 34 grams. So it is it's a heavier one, at least from what I'm used to. But like I said, this is kind of like my first nice razor, so it was kind of a unique experience because I learned a lot from this one. First thing I learned is like the weight. You know, I mean, I kind of like this weight better. You know, maybe because it's new, but I do think it's a little heavier than I prefer if I could take my pick. And I think like the weight of this is perfect for me. Like this is too light, but you know, maybe I just have to get used to it. Like I said, I've only had this for a couple weeks. Only have about, I don't know, 10 shaves, 8 shaves. I don't know. I don't shave every day. I'm usually like every other or every 2 days. You know, perks of working at home now. So the few I have, it's been amazing. But there's a few something I learned. So I've always thought I liked mild razors, but again, I can only go on a very small sample size. So it's kind of, this actually accomplished what I wanted to do, is to kind of get to experience different levels. So the 68 I thought was too mild. I think it'd be good if I was shaving every day, like if I was, you know, pre-COVID going to the office every day, then I think this one might be a better one for me, just because it's very mild. It doesn't irritate the skin or cause any kind of like irritation because it's so mild. So if I do it every single day, then I think this would be good. But what I did find with this one is that I actually ended up causing myself more irritation with this one than the 84, because I kept having to go over the spots, and then I kind of started getting a little like going too quick, and I ended up kind of cutting myself a little bit under the chin, where I was having trouble kind of just getting that smooth. I kept feeling like every time I go over, I still felt like there was something there, and sometimes I'd maybe, you know, go 4 or 5 times over that one spot and end up cutting myself because how mild this one is. So that was kind of the unique, you know, something I learned about it, is that being mild and trying to achieve a very clean shave can actually be counteractive. Where with this one, the 84, I'm able to get a smoother shave, and I, you know, obviously I can feel the blade a little bit more. I can feel that it's a little more aggressive, but I ended up actually surprisingly liking it more, because you kind of get that feedback that it's cutting. Or with this one, it's kind of so smooth that like sometimes I can't tell if I'm actually cutting the hair. But yeah, like I said, with this one, it did force me to have to make several kind of passes over the same area kind of quickly, and then ended up actually kind of cutting myself the first time. I've gotten better with it now, but yeah, that was kind of a unique thing. This one obviously is a little, 84, it's a little more aggressive than I'd like, but surprisingly I do better with this one than the 68, and which kind of makes sense because the Jagger, I believe, is somewhere in the 70s. I can't remember exactly what the gap on the Jagger is. I think I saw somewhere it's like 78, maybe 76, something like that. So which puts it kind of right in the middle between, you know, between these two plates, which kind of makes sense maybe why I've had such good success with this one. So maybe that is kind of my sweet spot, is somewhere in that 70 range. But nevertheless, I think I'd be happy with either one. I just have to learn. I think because I came from, you know, 7 years with this one and going to a more milder one, I just wasn't used to, you know, and I kind of went. I tend to shave quick, right? I'm always in a hurry, so to me, shaving isn't kind of like this drawn out ritual. To me, it's just I gotta get it done and go. So I mean, I've moved away from the whole brush and soap dish. I just put some gel in my hand and, you know, use my hands to lather up, just to move it along quicker. But yeah, that was my first observation, that I hurt myself less with the more aggressive blade, if that makes sense. So that kind of surprised me. But either way, I think it was just a learning curve, trying to, you know, learn the razor and learn the weight. So you know, by the end I was doing fine. Just my first one, I'll put a picture up. This was my first shave with the 64, and you can kind of see how I tore up my neck, and that's because I kept trying to make, like, I'd make a pass, I'd still feel it, make another pass, and then, you know, I kind of think overdid it by too many passes, trying to kind of get that smooth look, where with this one I didn't have that problem. But yeah, that is the Razorock. For the money, I think this is, I mean, dollar for dollar, I think this is the best razor I found. I mean, I spent, you know, several hours of research kind of trying to find, find the best one. And I think for the money, it's hard to beat the value this presents. You know, for under $100 to get all marine grade stainless steel with the ability to kind of, you know, adjust your aggression, I think it's a win. I can't imagine a better value out there. I do have another one on the way though, because now I think I kind of feel like I got hooked, because after I got this one, I kind of started, what made me kind of start kind of thinking is that this one was too mild, this one was a little too aggressive, you know, and I'm like, man, you know, maybe I need an adjustable one. And I kind of started looking around at adjustables again, and I found one that really kind of fit the bill, which was the Tatara, was it Masamura? And that one really intrigued me because that one works very different. You know, I don't like the adjustables that just kind of raise and lower the cap. You know, by doing that, yes, they make the gap bigger, but then they're also kind of, you know, you're taking the angle of the blade, you know, from a nice cutting angle, and you're kind of straightening it out more. When it's kind of, then it's like, I don't know, I think it's very irritating to the skin when I tried one. I tried the Merkur Future, whatever it's called. That's how that one worked. Where the Muramusa just extends, keeps the blade fixed at an angle, but just extends the safety bars, which to me I think is the right way to make an adjustable. So when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that's perfect. So I'm excited to try that one, because maybe my sweet spot is somewhere between 60 and 84. Like this one I think is a little too mild, this one's a little too aggressive, so I'm hoping that Goldilocks somewhere in the middle ends up being my sweet spot. But I'm also I just ordered some variety blades as well, so I'll keep providing some long-term updates on this one, because right now I'm using my Astra blades, because that's just what I've used for the last 10 years. But I did order some feathers just to kind of test those out to see if a sharper blade with a more milder razor will deliver maybe kind of the best of both worlds. So I'm actually curious to try that. My next shave will be with the feathers inserted to see how those do. But yeah, that's it for this video. Any questions, let me know. I'll definitely come back and do maybe a more of a long-term update, like a 6-month update or something like that, once I've gotten a few more shaves under my belt, tried a few more razor blades. But I really see this as being a long-term permanent fixture, just because it's never going to break, and you know, one day pass it down to one of my sons, is, you know, that, you know, it'll be a good razor. These, obviously, I'm surprised how long this one lasted, to be honest, with these kind of cheaper materials. My first one was the Merkur 23, and when I was unscrewing it one day, the whole kind of stud here just broke off. So I got about 6 years of use, and then I got this one, and it's been 7 years, and it's been working great. But like I said, I just never really looked, because I had no real complaints with it. I just thought it is what it is. But yeah, now I feel like I'm kind of addicted to these now. I see the addiction growing. So we'll see what else I pick up. But I definitely have the Muramusa on order. It should be here in the next couple days. And then I think I might eventually pick up the Rex console. I want to try this, but that might be more of like a Black Friday kind of purchase when there's a sale. Maybe I'll try that one out as well. But that's it for this one. If you have any questions, let me know.